This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last session, we have discussed how to design the detail page for a particular object by using the detail tag and the various properties to be get assigned upon designing the detail page, and how can we place the required related list onto the detail page by using the related list tag, and how to prepare our own tab panels, how to add the tabs inside the tab panels we have discussed in the last session. So now let's see how can we use this tab panel and the tabs in order to design the detail page. As of now, simply we have designed a detail page which can able to show the record information. Okay, which can able to show the record information along with the related list. Generally, when you go to that any detail page of your object, it may be your custom designed also. It may be the standard detail page also. For any object, it is having a standard format. Like, for example, when you go to the Edge Communications account record, I'm having this detail page of this record where I'm able to see that account record name on the top inside the title part. I'm having the charter feed option. I'm having the account record detailed information. And at the bottom place, I'm having the related list, like as contacts, opportunities, cases. If there is any other related list are available, those also we can able to represent. That means what? The information is getting visible one by one, one by one, one by one. That means record detailed information and then related list, like as contacts and then opportunities and then cases. But I don't want in the column format, okay? But I don't want in the column format. I don't want in the vertical, I want in the horizontal format. Okay, I want this should be in the vertical format. Like as soon as once you click on this account record, the account record name has to be get visible. It has to display the charter feed also. So I want to see this account record detailed information and the contacts related list, opportunities related list, and the cases related list in the form of the tabs. That means in the horizontal format, I want this information. Okay, like for example, so as soon as once you click on this account record, for example, I'm having an account record name, like as some Edge Communications. I'm having that record Edge Communications. As soon as once you click on this account record Edge Communications, it has to open that record in the detail page for me. I want that detail page. Okay, I want this detail page. So inside this detail page, I want to show that account record name, Edge Communications. I want to see this account record name. Along with that, here I want the charter feed. I want the charter feed option should be get visible over here. And after that, I want to display the account record detailed information. The detailed information of this account record, and then contacts, and then opportunities, and then cases. But not in the vertical format, I want in the horizontal format. So in this case, here I need a tab control. Okay, here I want a tab control over here. I want a tab control inside this. Here I would like to have some specific tabs. Okay, I would like to have some specific tabs over here. Like I would like to display the account record information. Okay, account detailed information. Here I would like to display the contacts. I want to show the opportunities and then cases. I want the tabs like this. Here I want to display the tab names, account detail. Here I want to show the contacts. Here I want to show the opportunities. Here I want to show the cases. So these are the tabs I want. As soon as once you click on this account detail, the respective user interface has to be get visible. That means what? I want to display the account record detailed information. I want to show the account record detailed information over here. I want to show the account record detailed information. For example, when I click on this contacts, it has to show the contact records to me over. When I click on opportunities, it has to show the opportunity records. When I click on cases, I want to show the case records over here. That means what? As of now, this information is available in the vertical format to me in a single column. But I don't want in the column, I want in that row format. That means in the horizontal format, I want to represent in the form of the tab controls. So I want to design a tab panel. Inside this tab panels, I would like to add the various tabs like as account details, contacts, opportunities, cases. I want to add these tabs. As soon as once I click on this account details tab, okay, it has to show this account record detailed information to me. When I click on this contact, for this account, what are the related contacts are available? I want to show these contacts. When I click on opportunities tab, for this account, whatever the opportunities are available, I want to see over here. When I click on cases tab, for this account, what are the opportunity cases are available, I want to represent over here. That means what? I need a tab control, which is used to represent the detail page of the record. Okay. I want to represent the detail page of the record in the tab panel control here. That means in the form of tabs. Each and every related list has to be visible in the form of a tab. I don't want in that vertical format. I want in the horizontal format in the form of tab controls. Then how can you design this? Now let's see practically here. How to design this tab control? What is the tag we need to use? Tab panel. First of all, we need tab panel. In the tab panel, we need to add various tabs. In each tab, I need to show the respective related list over here. You know how to represent the related list on the page. You know all this concept. Okay, just I'm copying the related list tag. I'm placing inside the tab control. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so it's very simple to design that tab control. Okay, and we can able to place that respective related list on that respective tab. Now let's see practically how can we implement this functionality. Now let's see. So now, as of now, we have designed the edit page. Now let's see how can we design the detail page. Okay, how to design the detail page by representing the related list information in the form of tab controls. Okay, understood the requirement here? Now let's see. So let's make a note of this one. Take a small use case. Design a Visualforce page to represent account records detailed information. Account records detailed information. Represent each related list in the form of a tab control. Represent each related list in the form of a tab control. Every related list I want to represent in the form of a tab control. Next, override the standard view button with the custom detail page. With the custom detail page. Override the standard view button with the custom detail page. So whatever the detail page that you have designed, the detail page I would like to use to see the records detail information. When the user click on any record, that record detail information has to be get visible with my custom designed page. I don't want that standard page. I want my custom page. Okay. So this is my requirement here. Now let's see how can we design this a detail page. Okay. How can we place the tab controls? We'll see practically now. Okay. So now let's see. Let me design a Visualforce page. I'm creating a detail page. I'm preparing a page with the name account record detail page. Okay, account record detail page. Or else simply I can say custom account detail page. Okay. Custom account detail page. So now here I'm designing the page with the name custom account detail page, but it's trying to be loading the page, okay, from the metadata repository, but actually the page is not found because we haven't designed any page as of now. We are creating a new page with this name. So click on this link. Now it is preparing a Visual Force page tree with the default information. By default, it is providing some few information is available. Some static text will be getting visible, but I don't want to display this static information. I would like to design my page according to my requirement. Okay, now. So now initially I'm specifying some default tags. Setup equals to false. I don't want that setup option on my page. I don't want the sidebar option. Show header equals to true. I want to display that header part. And then I would like to use that tab style property. I would like to use the tab style property as company details here. Company info underscore C. Okay. So now here I'm using that company details object, the company info objects tab style I want to apply for my page. Okay. Next one. Now I want to design the detail page here. Upon designing the detail page, okay, I want to represent each and every information in the form of tabs. So to place a collection of tabs, first of all, we need a tab panel. Okay, we need a tab panel. How to use this tab panel? Now let's see practically in this case. I'm using this Apex tab panel. Okay, Apex tab panel. I'm indicating that. Whenever I'm specifying the tab panel, it is indicating a tab panel over here. Now it is indicating you can see a small row over here. Tab panel will be getting prepared first. But inside this tab panel, we don't have any tabs available. Now I want to represent the tabs over here. So that here I'm preparing the tabs. Apex tab. By Apex tab. So I have prepared a tab over here. Okay, I have prepared a tab. So now it is preparing a tab over here, but this tab I haven't specified any label. Now I'm giving the label for this tab over here. Label equals to account detail. I'm giving the name equals to ACC details. I'm providing the tab label. For this tab, what will be the label you want me to represent? I'm indicating that the tab label as okay account details. Okay, don't write this code in between that. I'm going to be writing some more codes here. Okay, once it is done, then I will give the time to write this code. Okay, so now I'm placing a tab over here. Now I want to represent once account record detail information is displayed, then beside that I want to add one more tab to represent the contact records, related contacts. For that one, I'm adding one more tab. Apex tab. So this is one tab, this is the second tab. I'm indicating the label contacts. Tab name equals to ACC contacts. I'm providing one more tab over here, that is contacts. Next, I'm preparing another tab over here. Label equals to opportunities. Name equals to ACC opportunities. I'm adding one more tab. Label equals to cases. And the name of this tab equals to ACC cases. I'm adding one more tab. Label equals to notes and attachments. Name equals to ACC attachments. Okay, I'm adding the various tabs over here. So these are the tabs are available inside my tab panel control. I have prepared a tab panel control. Inside this tab panel control, I'm using the various tabs, like as account details tab, contacts tab, opportunities tab, cases tab, notes and attachments tab. Now let's see. Here in this case, as soon as once you click on this particular tab, okay, it is going to be refreshing the whole page for you. Okay, it is refreshing the whole page for you. When you click on this contacts tab, the whole page will be getting refreshed. When you click on this cases tab, the whole page will be getting refreshed. I don't want to refresh the whole page. I want to refresh only this particular tab. Only this particular tab I want to refresh. For that one, as part of this tab panel, we are having a small property called as switch type. I'm indicating Ajax, nothing but client side. Whenever I'm indicating switch type equals to the Ajax, then it will be refreshing the tab in the client side. When you click on this contacts, now only the contacts tab will be getting refreshed. Opportunities, cases, notes and attachments, account details. So that here it won't refresh the complete page. It will be refreshing only that particular tab control itself. So that we are using a property called as switch type property. For the switch type property, we can specify either the value Ajax or client, anyone here. That's what already I've given that note point yesterday. Upon using this tab panel, we are having a property called as switch type property. For this one, we can specify either Ajax or client, any one of this one. Now, so now here in this case here. Okay, now here in this case, I'm having my tab control is available here along with the required tabs information also. Okay, now. So now in this case, I would like to place inside this particular tab, I want to represent the account record detail information. Okay, I want to show that account record detail information. Now in this case, as soon as once you click on this account details tab, I want to show the account record detailed information. How can we get the account record detailed information? By using which tab? Detail tab. Okay, detail tab. I would like to use the detail tag here. Where you want to write that code inside this account details tab only. Inside that tab, just to go to that account details tab, inside this tab, I'm going to be using the detail page. Apex detail. Okay, detail. I'm indicating inline editing equals to true. And then I'm having the property related list false. I don't want to show the related list over here because I'm having a separate tabs are available to represent the related list, so that I don't want to display the related list at the bottom here. Next, we are having the title part. Title I want to indicate true because I want to show that title over here. I'm indicating show charter equals to true. I want to display the charter information also. Okay. So now inside this first tab, that means account details tab, I'm going to be representing the detail page of that account record. For that one, I'm using a tag called as detail tag. I'm using a tag called as a detail tag, which is used to represent the detail page of your account object here. So now in this case, whenever if you want to represent the account record detail page, then that account record object, nothing but account class, you have to specify inside your page tag. How can we specify that account object name? Standard controller. Standard controller equals to account. I want to represent that account records a detail page inside your tab control. Now, so how can we test this one now? By passing the ID. Where we can pass that ID? Inside the URL. For example, I'm copying this account record ID over here. So now here I'm passing that ID by making a question mark. That means query string ID equals to, I'm passing this record ID now. So now we can able to see this record information. So now here I'm able to see that account record information. This is the account record. This is the name of that account record. Title will be getting visible to you. Charter feed also will be getting visible to you. Okay, this is the account record information, and the charter feed information is also visible to me over here. After that, it will be indicating that account record detail information inside my tab. Inside this tab, it is showing only that account record detail information. Okay, only the account record detail information will be getting visible to me. But when you click on this contacts, nothing is visible because we haven't specified any related list. But when coming to the Edge Communications account, we are having few contacts are also available. We have few contacts, we have few opportunities, we have few cases also. How can we represent this information inside this tab over here? how to represent that contact details of this account. Then what we can do? Inside this contacts tab, what we need to write? Related list now. So tell me the related list over here. How can we specify? Apex related list. Next. What is the property? List property. List equals to what? Contact or contacts? Contacts. Okay, now next one. Rendered equals to true. Next. Page size. Okay. Page size I'm indicating like a some 5. If the user did not specify any page size, it will be indicating the default size as 5. Okay. The default page size is 5. Now let's save this information. Now, so now as soon as when you go to this account record, inside this account details tab, I can able to see my account record information. When you click on contacts, I can see the related contact records information inside this. Next, like the similar way, when you click on opportunities, nothing is visible. I want to show the opportunities over here, cases over here, notes and attachments over here. Okay, for that one, I want to represent the respective components inside this. For the opportunity, I'm using that related list. List equals to what? Opportunities. Next. Page size equals to 5. And then I'm indicating that rendered equals to true. Next. When coming to the cases tab, related list. List equals to what? Cases. Now the page size equals to 5. And then I would like to specify the rendered. What ID? ID column is available. Yes, we can specify that ID also here. Simply we can specify ID equals to, we can give your own name. Like as here, I would like to specify related list cases. We have to give your own name because this ID will not be generating the Salesforce. We have to give for our own reference. Okay. Next, notes and attachments. Combined attachments, right? Page size equals to, I'm indicating 5. And the rendered property equals to 2. And then I'm adding one more tab also. Label equals to, I'm indicating approval steps. Name equals to ACC steps. Now tell me what is the related list name over here. What is that? Process steps. Rendered equals to true and then page size. I'm indicating 5. So these are the various related lists I'm displaying inside that various tab controls. So we have added the various tabs over here. Okay, we have added the various tabs inside this. Account details tab, contacts, opportunities, cases, notes and attachments, and then approval steps. These are the various tab controls we have added. So now here when you go to this, the account record information will be getting visible. This is the account record information. This is the ID of the, this is the name of the account record. We are having the charter feed facilities available. This is the account record detail information. Now we are having the related contacts also. These are the related contacts are available. Related opportunities, related cases, notes and attachments, and the approval steps. All this information we can able to see in the horizontal format. So whenever if the customer is asking you to customize the detail page also, then we can customize by using the detail tag here. We can create your own Visualforce page. Through the Visualforce page, we can able to customize this detail page also by using Apex detail tag, and we can able to add the required related list in the form of the tab controls also by using the tab tag inside your Visualforce program. Okay, clear? Understood the concept here now? Now, So now as of now, I'm done with that requirement 1. So now represent each related list in the form of a tab control. Next one. Now as part of the requirement 2, override the standard view button with the custom detail page. What are the detail page that are designed right now? The detail page, I would like to make it as the default for all the account records inside my object. So when the user click on any of the account record name, instead of redirecting the user to the standard detail page, it has to redirect the user to my custom detail page, which I have designed right now. So I would like to override that standard, the view button here. Then how can we override this standard view button? What we can do? Tell me what is the navigation? Setup, okay. Go to the build menu, click on customize, accounts, buttons, links, and the actions section. Suppose if you are designing the detail page for your custom object, then how can we override? Custom object will not be visible over here. Create, right. Instead of going to the customize, go to the create, click on objects. Okay. Select that object name for which you would like to override. For example, I'm selecting that candidate. When you go to this object, when you come down, here you will be having a section called as buttons, links, and the actions section is available over here. Here we can able to override that button control, because for each and every button by default Salesforce is providing a standard page is available, but I don't want the standard, I want my own custom. So at that time, for this particular view, we can able to override that button also. Okay. So now let me customize, let me override that button for my account object. Go to that buttons, links, and the actions section. Go to that view. Okay. As of now, we have override that the new button. Now I want to override the view button also. Click on this edit. Now, so now it is having that by default, it is using the default page, use default, no override. Now I want to override that one with my customized Visual Force page. Select that here, Salesforce Classic override, that is Visual Force page. I want to use my own customized page in order to override that view button. So what is the page that we need to use? Custom account detail page, which we have designed right now. Okay, which we have designed right now. So this is the page which I have designed, custom account detail page. Select that page, custom account detail page. Now click on save. Okay, now done. When you come down here, we can able to see for the view button also we have override that button here by using our own customized Visual Force page. Okay. Suppose for example, after some time, if the client said that I don't want this custom, I want that standard, what we can do? Then what we can see? What we can do now? Delete that page? No. Then what we can do? Simply we can go to that edit option. Just you can select that option, no override. That's it, simple. Okay. So don't delete that page. It won't allow you to delete, of course, because here you are using somewhere. Whenever if you are using any component somewhere, when you try to delete that one, it won't allow you to delete. First of all, we have to break that relation, then only we can remove that component or object or field or anything from your Salesforce instance. Okay. So now let's go to that. So as of now, we have designed the detail page. Now let me go to that account object to open that records information. Click on this accounts. Now I'm having this account records information is available. I'm having that account record that is called as United Oil and Gas Corporation. Click on this record. It won't open that record in the standard page. It is opening in my customized page which I have designed. So it is displaying that account record information. This account record information is available to you because United Oil and Gas Corporation, for this account record, whatever the detailed information is available, the record information will be getting visible. If you want to see the related contacts, click on contacts. We can see the related contact records. Related opportunities also we can see. Totally we are having 10 opportunities. I have given that page size as 5, so first 5 will be getting visible. If you want to see that complete 10, then you can click on that complete 10 also. Now, So go to that list. It will be indicating that all the 10 records will be getting visible to you. But in the same page, we can't see that. In the different page, we can able to see that whole information. Next, when you go to the cases, the related cases information, we can see. Notes and attachments information, this is still empty. Approval steps also still empty. So that instead of using the standard detail page, we can able to use our own customized detail page also for your records as well. For any object we can design, it may be standard, it may be custom object also. We can design your own edit page, you can design your own detail page with the required format, with the required styles also. Okay, clear? Understood this concept here? How can we design the detail page? By using the various tags. We have used tab panel control, tab control, detail tag, related list tag. These are the 4 tags we have used combinedly to design this user interfaces. Okay, clear? So let me place this code. Now we need to override that button also. Okay, so this is the navigation process in order to override the view button also. Clear up to now? So this is the way we can design your own detail page with the required input values. Okay, comfortable up to this one? Standard controller, how to use that standard controller to design the edit page, to design the detail page with the required components, all these tags. Comfortable with these tags and the properties, hierarchy of those tags, how to test it, how to design it, everything? Comfortable or not? Okay. People are not responding. I think they had a very good lunch today. Now, the next one. Next one is madam, nowadays nobody is writing, everybody taking screenshot. Yeah, photo, okay? Because people are using technology very well nowadays. But practice is very important. If you miss in even a single semicolon also, less than symbol, greater than symbol, it will give the complete error message to you. Okay. Screen is visible for the last row, or else come to the front. In future, we will get the same option for that exams also. We can take a photo, we can able to paste over there. Okay. So no need to write anything. Everything will be digital India. Okay. Now, so now let's see the custom controller. It will be looking like a bit typical also, a bit confusing also, the custom controller concept, but try to understand the concept first. If you understood the concept, then only the remaining features are very, very easy for you. As of now, we have worked on only one phase of the application development. Now we need to work on both the phases now. Front end part, back end part, both we need to design now as part of this custom controller. Okay. As of now, we have concentrated only on the user interface design. We have used the ready-made controllers which have been given by Salesforce. Ready-made functionalities, standard functionalities we have used. But in some cases, what are the standard functionalities has been given by Salesforce, like as a standard 10 methods, like the save method, quick save, cancel, delete, first, next, previous, last, has next, has previous. These are the 10 methods which has been given by Salesforce. So if these 10 methods are not suitable for your requirement, then at that time, we have to design our own business logic. We have to prepare our own controller, which are called as custom controllers. We can design our own customized controllers with the required business logic, whatever we want, according to the customer needs or according to the business needs. So how can we design our own custom controllers? How can we reference those custom controllers inside the Visualforce page? What are the various steps that we need to follow? Now let's see practically here. Okay, now, so in this case, not only utilizing the standard controller, we can use that custom business logics also inside our Visualforce page. How can we use that? What are the various steps that we need to follow? Now let's see practically in this case. Okay. So let's make a note of this one here. Custom controllers. Upon designing the Visualforce page, if the standard functionalities are not suits to the requirement, then we can implement our own custom controllers, with the required business logic, according to the application needs, and can be referenced inside the Visualforce page. When the standard functionalities are not suitable, then we can implement our own custom controllers. How can we implement the custom controller? Controller means what? Class. We are creating our own custom class. You know how to create the custom class, how to write the business logic, how to perform the operation, everything we know. But now, as of now, what we did, the class we are invoking with the help of the execute anonymous window. We went to the execute anonymous window. There we are going to be creating the object of the class. We are calling that method by using object name dot method name. Suppose if the method is a static method, we are calling that method by using class name dot method name by passing the required input parameters. But now, because as a developer, I know how to create the object, how to go to the execute anonymous window, how to invoke that method, how to pass the parameter. We know as a developer. But the normal end user and the customers, employees, business people, they don't know how to invoke that. They don't have the access on that execute anonymous window. They don't have the access on the respective classes and the respective editors. They don't know that navigation. They don't have any technical skills. For that one, I want to give the ability to them. Those people no need to write any code. They no need to use my Salesforce application, execute anonymous window. Just they can go to a user interface. When they click on the button control directly, that particular functionality will be getting invoked. So I want to invoke those methods with the help of the button controls by using my Visualforce page. I want to design a visual appearance control. Okay, I want to design a visual appearance control that may be either a pick list also, that may be either a button control also, checkbox also, whatever. When you click on that button control or when you select that pick list, automatically it has to execute that business logic for me. For that reason, I would like to design my own custom classes. I would like to design my own functionalities inside my custom class that I would like to invoke with the help of the Visualforce page. So that not only invoking the standard functionalities, custom functionalities also we can able to invoke with the help of custom controller. So now in this case, whenever we are going to be designing the custom controllers, we have to follow some steps. Okay, there are some steps are available, okay, which we have to use upon designing the custom controllers. That means upon attaching, upon invoking, upon mapping that connection between the Visualforce and then backend classes, there are some functionalities are available. There are some steps are available. These steps are very, very important. If you know these steps, then remaining concepts are very, very simple. Okay, now. So now let's see here. So in this case, how can we invoke your own custom controllers inside the Visualforce page? Now let's see practically here. Okay, now. So let me explain those steps first. Okay, now make a note of this one here. Upon referencing the custom classes inside the Visualforce page, we have to follow the below steps. We have to follow the below steps. Next, step 1. First of all, as a step 1, first of all, prepare your own custom class. Okay, prepare your own custom class. Okay, prepare the custom class to be used to implement the custom business logic. Custom business logic by using Apex programming. By using Apex programming. So how to define this class? You know, public class and the class name. Okay, public class name is the first step. Step 2. So whenever I'm going to be implementing some business logic, definitely I'm defining some variables inside the class, right? I'm defining some variables. I'm preparing some collections also. It may be listed collection, set collection, map collection, whatever, anything. We're defining some objects also, like a single object, like as account, some ACC, position, some POS, like that we're defining some objects also. Okay. So now, whenever we are going to be defining the topics class, inside the class we are defining the members. Okay. I'm defining some members over here. So whenever if you are going to be making these members can be accessible from the Visual Force page. That means what? Inside my class, I'm defining some variables. In that variable, there is some values. I'm having some collections, which is having some records. I'm having some objects, which is holding one single record. That means what? Whatever the members you are going to be defining inside that class. That means whatever the variables you are defining, whatever the collections you are defining, whatever the objects you are defining, these objects, these variables, and the collections we are accessing from my Visual Force page. So whenever, if you want to access any of this class number from the Visual Force page, okay, whenever, if you want to access any of this class number from the Visual Force page, then we have to define that number with the two accessors. One is get, second one is set. Okay, we have to define these numbers with get and set accessors. Okay, so now in this case, for example, if you are defining some member over here inside the class, like as for some public integer, some customer code. If you want to access this variable, generally we are defining like this: public integer customer code semicolon. That's it. So now sometimes here, what I want to do is, generally for this customer code variable, we are passing the value through programming. We are creating the object of the class. We are accessing object name dot customer code equals to some 1001. But in this case, what happened? This value I'm not passing through backend. This value is coming from the user interface. In my user interface, there is a text box is there. In the text box, I will enter the customer code. This value has to be stored inside the variable over here. In this case, what happened? Now I want to map the connection. There is a text box in my user interface. There is a variable inside my class. I need to map the connection between these two over here so that they can exchange the data here. From top to bottom, bottom to top, they can able to exchange the data here. In order to pass the data from the Visual Force to Apex, Apex to Visual Force, we are going to be making these two has to be get communicate with each other. We have to map the connection between these two. For that one, we are making it as get and set. Okay, these are called as accessors. Okay, get accessor, set accessor. If anybody is aware of Java or .NET, there you might be aware of a concept of properties. Okay, you might be aware of a concept called as properties concept. Anybody is aware of Java or .NET? Okay, 2, 3 minutes. You know the concept of properties? Okay, now. So now in this case, properties are alternate for the methods. Why they have introduced the properties is, for example, assume that I have a class. Okay, I have a class. In that class, I have defined a member. Simply, I have defined a member. That member is a private member. Okay, that member is a private member. Can I access that private member from the outside of the class? No, because private members can be accessible within the class block only. Outside the class, we can't access it. But sometimes I need a mechanism. Okay, I need a mechanism. I need an alternative way through which I want to access the private member of the class from outside. I don't want to change it to public. Okay, I don't want to change it to public, but I want to access that member from outside. I want to assign some value. I want to retrieve some value. For that one, to provide this one, in order to make the private members can be accessible from outside of the class, we are using the help of a feature called as properties. Okay, we are using the help of a feature called as properties feature. So property is working like as a mediator. Okay, property is working like as a mediator, which is passing the data, collecting the data from the user, passing to the private member. So now if the private member is having any value, to collect that value, it is going to pass into the user. So it's like as a bridge. Okay, it's like as a bridge between the end user and then private members of the class. So that properties are used to access the private members of the class from outside, so that we can assign the value, we can access the value of the private member from the outside of the class also. Like for example, assume that, let me try to define a small private class. I'm defining a small class. Inside that class, I would like to define a private member here. For example, I'm having customer details class. Inside this one, I'm having the customer code and then age. Let me make this age value as private. private integer customer age. So now I'm having a class with the name customer details. Inside that, two integer members are there. One is of type public, second one is of type private. So this is customer code, this is customer age. Now let me try to access this members. Remove the remaining members over here so that for your clarity. Now I want to access these members here. For that one, I'm creating the object of the class. From the execute anonymous window, I'm creating the object here. Like for example, some C helper equals to new customer details. Okay, I'm going to be assigning the values here. Some C helper dot, what is that variable? Customer code. I'm assigning some value. Okay, I'm assigning some value. Let me execute this piece of code. Click on execute. Request has been sent to the server. Now the value has been supplied over here. Okay. For example, let me supply the value for the customer age. C helper dot customer age equals to, I'm indicating some 24. Let me execute this code. It is giving this error message to you, exception message, variable is not visible. That means here you can't access that variable from outside because it's a private member. Even though the class is public, it doesn't mean all the numbers are public. Even though class is having its own access specifier, variable will be having its own access specifier. That's what I told you. We can able to protect the data from the unauthorized people by using that access specifier as part of object-oriented programming. For every member of the class, we can define a different access specifier. It may be private, public, protected, or global. Depends upon your requirement. So now inside my class, okay, inside my class, I have two members. One is a public member, second one is a private member. For the public members, I can assign the value from outside because he is a public member, which can be accessible from the outside of the class also. But when you try to assign the value for the private member of the class, it won't allow. Okay, it won't allow here. Because private members can't be accessible from outside, it is giving the message to me, variable is not visible, customer details dot customer age. This variable cannot be accessible from outside, so we can't assign the value over here. Okay. In this case, whenever if you want to assign the value for this kind of variables, we can use the help of properties. Okay, we can use the help of properties here. Okay, now we are going to be using the help of properties. With the help of the properties, we can able to assign the value for this variable. Okay, so in this case, how can we define the property? How can we assign the value? Let me give you a small example over here. I'm defining a property here. Public integer. I would like to specify customer age property. Okay, I'm defining a property over here. Inside this property, you will be having two accessors: get accessor, set accessor. So now in this case, okay, now here in this case, now this get accessory is for what? Get accessories is used to get the value of this private number. Set accessory is used to set the value to that number. Okay, whatever the private number is there, to that number, if you want to assign the value, if you want to write some value, use set accessory. If you want to read the value from that variable, we have to use get accessory. These are the two accesses are available in each and every property. This complete thing is called as a property over here. Okay, now, so in this case here, what we can do? Okay, what we can do in this case? Whenever if you want to assign some value to this particular variable, a private number, don't assign the value directly to the private number because it cannot be accessible. Pass the value to the property. Whenever I'm passing the value to the property, property internally will assign the value to the private number. Because property should be always public, because here it should be accessible from outside. Okay, it should be accessible from outside over here. So that property should be always public, which can able to collect the data from the outside. It will be assigning to your private members of the class. Now here in this case, what are the values available inside this customer age variable? To get that value, I'm going to be using this, the get accessor. That means return the value of that customer age. Suppose if I'm passing any value to my customer age property, that value will be storing inside a variable called as value variable. Value is a standard keyword, standard variable which is maintaining by Salesforce. Even though when you go to Java, .NET also same variable is available here. Okay. Now, so now here in this case here, okay. Now here in this case, whatever the value that I'm passing to my property, this value I want to assign to whom? To the customer age. Okay, to the customer age. Customer age equals to value. I'm going to be assigning this value. That means what? Whenever if you want to assign the value for the customer age variable, which is a private number, don't assign the value to this customer age variable. Use the help of property. There is an alternative channel. Okay, there is an alternative channel is available here. So now through this alternative channel, pass the value to this alternative channel. Internally, it will be passing this value to that variable. Okay, to pass the value to that variable. Suppose if you want to access this value, use this particular variable name, property name, it will be getting the value to you automatically by default over here. Okay, clear? Now, for example here. Now, in this case, we can raise a question. Sir, this syntax is looking like as a method. The simple blind thumb rule, if you're having like this, it's a method. If you don't have this one, it's a problem. Okay, it's a blind thumb rule. Whenever if you're having that, okay, open braces in the close braces, this is called as a method. If you're removing this open braces, close braces, it is a problem. Okay, clear? So we can able to use this properties. Okay, we can use this properties concept also. So now we can assign the value, we can retrieve the values also over here. Okay, now. So now here in this case, whenever if you want to assign the values to the private members of the class, we are using the help of property. Each property will be having two accessors, get accessor and set accessor. Get accessor is used to get the value of that property. Set accessor is used to assign the value to that property over here. Whenever I'm passing the value to the property, that value will be storing inside the value keyword which has been maintaining by Salesforce. Internally, this value will be assigning to the customer age variable. Whenever if you're calling this property, it will be collecting the value from the customer age variable. That value will be returned to you automatically by default here. So that to assign the value, to retrieve the value, we are using that get accessor and set accessor. Okay, clear? Now. So this is the concept that people will use generally as part of Java or .NET. Okay, whenever you are defining some properties with a get and set accessors. Okay. Now, so in this case, if you want to assign the value for that customer age, don't assign the value to the variable directly. Assign the value to the property. What is my property name? Customer age property. I'm giving that value some 24. Okay. So after that, we can able to get that value. So whenever I'm passing this value, okay, whenever I'm passing this value 24, the value will be going to my property. What I'm doing over here, I'm assigning or I'm retrieving the value. Assigning. For this property, I'm assigning. Whenever you are setting the value, immediately it will be invoking that set accessor. Okay. Whenever you are assigning the value, it will be invoking the set accessor automatically. So now it will invoke the set accessor. Whatever the value 24 we have supplied, this value will be storing inside that value variable. Value is a standard keyword maintaining by Salesforce. Inside this value variable, this value will be getting stored. Once the value is available, then we are going to be assigning to the customer age. That means here, this value internally going to my customer age variable. Okay. Suppose, for example, I'm retrieving the value over here, like how system.debug C helper customer age property. I'm accessing that. Whenever I'm accessing this particular property, now here in this case, what I'm doing, object name dot property name. Whenever I'm going to be accessing this property in this case, if I'm accessing this property, then in this case, simply it will go to that property. This is the property which I'm going to invoke. What I'm doing in this case, I'm assigning, I'm retrieving. Whenever I'm retrieving this particular property value, immediately it will be invoking that get accessor here. Get accessor is what it will do. It will collect that. It will go to the customer age variable. In this variable, whatever the value is there, this value will be returning to you over here. So that value 24 we can able to print it onto your debug log file also. This is the internal concept. That means instead of making that number as public, we can able to access that numbers from the outside. We can assign, we can retrieve with the help of an alternative channel that is called as property. Okay. So now here in this case, with the help of these properties, with the help of property, we can able to assign the value to a member. We can retrieve the value from that member also. That possibility is available. Okay, clear? These are the concept of properties. Generally, these are not required, but for your better understanding, I'm giving this information. Now, when you go to the properties, how many types of properties are available generally? How many types of properties? 3 types, okay. We have one more also. 4 types. No. Get set only one type. That is called as what? Now, as part of properties, we are having totally 4 types of properties are available. Okay, when you go to Java or .NET, then they will be having 4 types of properties. Don't look into the document. Okay, I haven't mentioned that one here. Okay, now that is not required. So now we are having 4 types of properties basically. First one is read-only property. Okay, read-only property. So what do you mean by read-only property? Just we can able to read the value. That's it. If you want to read the value, what accessor we are using? Get or set. To get the value, reading nothing but what? Fetching the value. To retrieve the value, what is that accessor we are using? Get. That means what in this case, this property will be holding only that get accessor, no set accessor. Okay, these are read only property. Second one, write only property. Okay, write only property here. This is what? Only set. Okay, no get, only set. Okay. Third one, general property. Okay, general property. When you go to the general property, it will be having both get and set, both. Okay, but in this case here, upon defining the property, we have to write this code. Okay, we have to write this code. Now, latest here we are having auto implemented properties. Okay, auto implemented properties here. As part of auto implemented properties, okay, whenever we are going to be defining that, okay, whenever we are going to be implementing this one, so no need to specify any get and set, simply no need to write this a piece of business logic here. Simply we can able to specify get and set. That's it. It will take care of everything here. We no need to write this business logic. Simply it will be taking care of. Simply we can specify get and set. It will take care of that. These are auto implemented. So as of now, what we did, we have written some piece of code. Like as inside the get, we have written some code. Inside the set, we have written some lines of code. But we no need to write this one. We can make this code has to be auto generated by that programming itself. For that one, we are using that auto implemented properties, which we can specify just a get and set. So we no need to write this a piece of code. This a piece of code will be taken care of by the programming language itself. These are the 4 types of properties available here. Okay. So property is going to be exposing your member to the outside. Okay, property is going to be exposing your member to the outside. Okay, now. So now here in this case, as part of your custom controllers also, we have to use this get accessor and set accessor. Nothing but properties. Okay, we have to use. Whenever we are defining some members like as customer code, customer age, or anything, whatever you want, if you want to access this member from that Visualforce page, class to class we can access. How? By using object name dot member name we can access. If you want to access this member from class to your Visualforce page or Visualforce page to your Apex class, at that time we have to define this member with get and set. Okay, we have to use that get and set. Not only the normal variables, okay, not only the normal variables, it may be collections also. Okay, it may be collections also. Suppose if I am defining a collection like as public list of account, LST accounts. This also we need to make it as get and set. That means no need to make every member as with get and set. Whatever the members, whatever the variables, whatever the collections, whatever the objects you are accessing from Visual Force page. Suppose inside my class, I am defining some 100 variables. From those out of 100 variables, only 10 variables I am accessing from my Visual Force page. At that time, make only those 10 variables with the get and set accesses as well. With the remaining 90 variables, we don't need to specify any get and set. Whatever the variables, whatever the collections, and whatever the objects. For example, I'm defining an object also, like as my position. This also we can make it as get and set. That means what? Whenever you're preparing your own custom controller, that means what? Custom controller means what? It's my own custom class, my own custom variables, my own collections, my own objects, which I would like to use inside my Visual Force page. As of now, I have used the standard functionalities, but now everything I have designed by my own. Now I want to use these numbers inside my Visual Force page. At that time, in order to make these class members to be accessible from the Visual Force page, we have to define that the members with the get and set accessors. Okay, we can define with get and set accessor. Then what this get and set accessor will do, whenever I'm defining a member with a get and set accessor, for this in customer code variable, for this collections, for this object, the value we can assign from Visual Force page also, or the value we can collect from Apex class to Visual Force page also. That means Visual Force to Apex also we can pass, Apex to Visual Force page also we can able to collect. That means both the navigations are available to you. We can collect the data. We can assign the data from Visual Force to Apex, or we can collect the data from Apex to Visual Force also. That possibility is available, so that we are having get and set. Whenever you are assigning the value from Visual Force to Apex, it will be executing that set accessor. Whenever you are accessing the value from customer code, nothing but from the Apex class to Visual Force page, it is indicating that get accessors to. That means we can assign the value to that variable. We can retrieve the value from the variable also by using get and set accessor. Okay, clear? Understood this concept here? Get and set accessors. Now in this case, as a second step, okay, as a second step, whenever we are going to be defining the members, it may be variables, it may be collections, it may be objects, which you are accessing from the Visual Force page. Those members we have to define with the get and set accessor. Get accessor is used to get the value of the variable from the Visual Force page. Set accessor is used to set the value to the variable from Visual Force page. Okay. Now from your Apex class to Visual Force page, Visual Force page to Apex class also we can pass the values by using get and set accessor. Okay, clear? Now make a note of this one. Second step. Define the required variables collections, objects inside the controller class with a get and set accessors which can be accessible from the Visual Force page. That means whenever if you want to access any of that class member from the Visual Force page, then compulsorily we have to make that member with a get and set. Now in this case, get accessor. So now get accessor it will allow us to get the value get the value of the variable from the Apex class to Visual Force page. Set accessor. It will allow us to assign the value to the variable from the Visual Force page to the Apex class. Apex to Visual Force to Apex. I'm defining that. Public string like some search text, making it as get insert. Public list of account get insert. We can define some members also. Public void get all accounts. I need to write the business logic. Custom controller practice is very important. Yes, we'll see that concept also. No. As of now, what we did, just we have prepared the class. In that class, we have defined some members. We made those members can be accessible from the Visual Force page by using get and set. We have prepared some business logic. Up to this part, only the class part is over. Now, how can we reference this class inside the Visual Force page? What is the property we need to use? This controller is what? Standard or custom? Custom. How can we use that custom controller inside the page? What is the property? Controller property. Right. This is the third step. Step 3. As a step 3, once the business logic has been implemented, then we have to reference the custom controller class inside the Visualforce page by using controller property in the page tag. Apex page controller equals to, what is that controller? We can specify that class name. Remaining properties are same. Clear? Done? Now. So once the class has been getting referenced inside the Visualforce page, then what we can do from there? Okay, action, right? That means what? Once the class is ready, business logic is ready, attaching the class with that Visualforce page, then we can able to start invoking the actions. That means invoking that methods by using button controls. Okay, now the fourth step. Invoke that class methods by using the button controls. Invoke the custom business logic. Invoke the custom business logic methods with the help of button controls. Button controls by using action property. For example, we can specify Apex command button value equals to show accounts, and then I'm indicating action property. How can we access that method here? How can we access the method? Get all accounts. How can we specify inside that in the form of merge field format? Okay, in the form of merge field format. These are the 4 simple steps we need to follow upon using the custom controllers. Okay, clear? Done with these 4 steps? Now, so whenever we are using the custom controllers, we have to follow 4 simple steps. First of all, build your own custom controller class in which we are implementing the business logic, which you would like to reference inside the page. So define that class first. Once the class has been getting defined, inside that class implement the business logic. Upon implementing the business logic, if there is any variables or collections or objects which you want to access from the Visual Force page, okay, which you want to access from the Visual Force page, then define those members with a get and set accessor. Because if you want to access any of the class members from the Visual Force page, compulsorily that has to be defined with a get and set. Then only we can able to pass the value from Visual Force to Apex. We can access the value from Apex to Visual Force also, both. Okay. So now in this case, you have to make those members with a get and set accessors. So that too, these are purely no need to write any code in between that. Simply specify get and set because these are purely auto implemented properties given by Salesforce. No need to write any code, just we can specify get semicolon, set semicolon here. After this closing braces, no semicolon. Okay, generally we are writing the semicolon at the end. Don't specify any semicolon here, it will give the compilation error. Okay. So now define that variables are collections are objects which you want to access from the Visual Force page with a get and set accessors. So once a class has been defined with the required members by enabling them with a get and set with the required business logic, then reference that class into your Visual Force page by using a property called as controller property inside the page tab. Because this is a custom class, so which I'm going to be referencing, so we have to use property called as controller property. Now, once the class has been getting referenced, then whatever the methods are available inside that class, we can able to invoke those methods by using the button controls with the help of action property here. Okay. These are the 4 simple steps we need to follow upon using custom controllers inside your Visual Force page. Okay. Clear? Understood the concept here? Now, shall we go for an example now? So let's see a small example here. Okay. Let's see a small example. Just I would like to define a class. I would like to define some variables inside that. Those variable values I want to show on my Visual Force page. Okay, those variable values I want to show on my Visual Force page. Like as your system.debug, okay, like that similar manner, nothing else. Okay, now. So how can we do that? Now let me explain practically over here. Okay. First of all, let me explain theoretically, then we'll see the practical part. Okay. Now, take a small use case. Okay. Slowly we'll go with that, the complex things. Initially, we'll go with the small variables and then some constructors and then some methods. Then we will go into the database concept. How to perform the database operations, everything. Okay. Design a Visual Force page to represent the customer details on the page. To represent the customer details on the page. Customer is nothing but my small class, my standard, my custom class, which I'm going to define. In that one, I want to define some variables. That's it. In the starting of our Apex programming, as part of the OOPS concept, we have prepared some small classes. Customer helper class or product helper class, like that. I want to define a small class. In that one, I want to define some members. Those members, I want to make it visible inside my Visual Force page. How to do that, we'll see. Okay. Now, so let me explain theoretically first. Okay, then only we can able to access these members. Okay, from the Visual Force page. So first of all, I would like to define an Apex class. I'm defining an Apex class. So I'm defining an Apex class now. Public class customer helper. Okay, customer helper. Or else simply we can say customer controller. I'm defining some members inside this. Public string customer name. Public integer customer code. Public boolean is active. Public decimal balance amount. These are the 4 members I have defined inside my class. Now what I want to do, I want to display these variable values into my Visual Force page. Generally, if I'm defining a class with the required members, how can we access this variable from the outside? By creating an object. Create the object of the class, access each and every member, because object name dot customer name, object name dot customer code, like that we can able to access that. By using system.debug statement, we can able to represent. Now, whenever I'm displaying this variable values, what is the values are available inside these variables by default? Null. Because we haven't assigned any values by default, so Apex is assigning the default value as null. Okay, now. So now, whenever if you want to access this variable from the execute anonymous window or from any other class, we are creating the object of this class. But I want to access this variables not from an Apex class. I want to access variables from a Visual Force page. Okay, I want to access these variables from my Visual Force page. Whenever if you want to access any of these members from the Visual Force page, then we have to define that member with get and set. So this member also I'm defining with get and set. This member also with a get and set. This member also with a get and set. Okay. What are the members you want me to display in the Visual Force page? Those members I'm going to be displaying, I'm preparing with the help of get and set. Whenever we are going to be making this member as get and set, that means this for this particular customer code, customer name variable, the value can be assigned from the Visual Force page, or the value can be retrieving from the Visual Force page also. Okay. Now my class is ready. So this is my Apex class which we have prepared right now. I want to display these variables inside my Visual Force page. Then how can we do that one? What is the next step now? Simply, I want to display this value onto my Visual Force page. So I need to design a Visual Force page first. For example, I'm defining a page with the like as customer details page. Okay, I'm defining a page with the name customer details page here. Upon designing the Visual Force page, you will be having the first tag called as page tag. Here we can specify the remaining properties, whatever you want, setup property, and then sidebar property, tab style, whatever you want, everything we can assign. And then I'm having that Apex page. Now here inside this page, what you want to display? Values of these variables: customer name value, customer code, active status, balance amount. Okay. Then how can we display these values? That means what these are available where inside the class. Okay. If you want to access these members from the outside, nothing but from Visual Force page, we have to make it as get and set. But whenever I'm accessing this variable, simply like some customer code. Customer code, how Salesforce can understand in which class these variables are available. We need to, then what we can do? Controller. That means we are indicating controller. Controller equals to customer controller, right? Okay. We have to attach that class inside that Visual Force page. Now from there, we can display that variables here. How to display these variables here? Directly by using that merge field format. Simply we can specify customer name. That's it. Customer code. Balance amount. Is active. That's it. Inside the Visual Force page, everything can be accessible with the help of the merge field format only. That's what I told you during that time. Merge field syntax is very, very important. Okay. Complete Visual Force, we are going to be using same like as merge field format. Even though when you go to the Lightning, also same format. No change. Okay. So now here also, we are going to be using our own Visual Force page. Inside the Visual Force page, we are going to be attaching this class by using that controller property. Because this class is my own custom class, I'm attaching the custom class inside the page by using the controller property. I'm accessing each and every member of that class here. Now here you can raise a question. Sir, these members are normal variables. Generally, if you want to access the members of a class, we need an object. Okay, we need an object. Without the help of object, how it is possible to access these members? Whenever we are going to be loading this particular Visual Force page, whenever you are running the page, now what the page will do is the page compiler will be collecting this Visual Force page code. In this page, whatever the controller class you have attached, it will collect that controller class. For that controller class, it will be creating the object automatically by default. Is the internal concept of Visual Force. Whenever the page is getting loaded, whenever the page is getting running, inside that page, whatever the custom controller class that you have used, for that custom controller class, it will be preparing the object automatically by default. With the help of that object, it will be accessing these members by default. We no need to specify any object name, nothing. Directly, we can access that variables inside this. Okay, clear? Now, suppose for example, it will be displaying these values. Customer name will be empty. Customer code will be empty. Balance amount will be empty. Is active will be what? Not selected. That means here it will be false value. Now, if I'm displaying like this, it will be giving that like as the normal values, empty values. I want to show some message also over here. For that one, I want to indicate customer name. Here I'm indicating some message also for my understanding. Customer code. Balance amount. Active status. Okay, active status. So now here I'm going to be assigning this. I'm going to be giving some message also. Because if I'm printing simply, okay, if I'm using this one, this is nothing but internally like as your system.debug state. Simply it will print the value of the variable. Then we can't understand what is this variable value. Is it customer code, customer name, or what? We can't understand. For that one, I'm giving some message also. Here I'm giving some labels also over here. I'm displaying some static message. Customer name, customer code, balance amount, and then active status. If you want to display each and every value in a separate row, then we have to use that break tag. Okay, break tag. That's it. Over. So this is how we need to work on. That means here, as of now, we have worked on only one phase of the development, either only Apex or either only designing part. Now I need to work on both the parts. And keep on, we need to switch. Okay, keep on, we need to switch from designing to that controller to the designing part over here. For that one, we are using URL format. If I'm using the two separate editors, okay, then it will be very difficult for me to switch from editor 1 to editor 2. Keep on. For that reason, we are using the URL format. Through this URL format, we can able to get both these functionalities in a single window itself, so that we can able to keep on modify the values, or we can work on this both the parts in one time. That facility is available. Okay. User interface. For that one, tab controls we have to use separately. Okay, tab controls separate.
Where will we get that information? Where will we get that information?
Which information?
This object information.
No, object information will not be visible to you. It will be internally in the backend process. It will be taken care by Visual Force. Okay, clear? Understood? This concept are a bit confusing. Nobody is responding. Understood the concept, or is it in confusing state still? Okay, now simple concept here. So now first of all, define your controller class, and then define the members whatever you want. Once the members has been getting defined, in order to make that members can be accessible from the Visual Force page, define those members with the get and set accessors. Once the business logic is ready, then we can able to reference this class inside that Visual Force page by using the controller attribute or the controller property, and then access each and every variable, invoke each and every method also, whatever you want. Okay, yeah. We can go with that one. Both we can do at any point of time and work on that. Okay. Clear? Now, so let's see practically now how can we go with this. Now, so let me go with that Visual Force page. I'm designing a Visual Force page now. Customer details page. Okay, customer details page. This is a page name which I'm going to be defining right now. Now the page is empty page. Nothing is visible inside that. Salesforce has given some default code. I don't want this default code, so that I'm removing the default code given by Salesforce. Now my page is empty page. Nothing is visible inside my page now. Okay, now. So what I want to do now? Custom controller I need to prepare. How to prepare that controller class now? Okay, now generally to prepare that class, what we used to do, we are using the standard navigation or developer console or whatever. But now here I don't want to go with that developer console. I want to write that class code here itself. Now with which name you want to create the class? I want to create the class with the name customer. Whenever we are going to be creating that Visual Force page and the Apex classes, please follow some standard notations. For example, I'm preparing the class page with the name customer details page. Whenever we are implementing the business logic for this page, if you want to use any controller class, use that class name as customer details controller. Follow that notation here. Because here the page name and the class name both should be exactly similar. Then only we can able to map very easily. Suppose for this page I have given a different name, for this class I have given a different name, then we can't understand which class has been referenced in which page, we don't know. Until or unless we're looking into each and every page, we can't see that. Okay. Suppose if you are having a class name like a customer details controller. Now, if you want to know in which class, in which page this class has been used, simply remove this word controller, add that one page. That means inside that customer details page, we have used this class. For our easy understanding, we are following these kind of notations. Okay, don't give the different names for class and the page separately. Okay, please follow the same notation. That will be very easy to understand. Because here simply use that simple thing for the page and for the class, use the same thing here. Okay, for your Visual Force page, for your controller class, use the same name. But the page should be end with that word page, class should be end with the word controller. That's it, simple. Okay, so now each and every Visual Force page name should be ends with that page. It's not a rule. For our understanding, we are going to include in this. Suppose if anybody is looking into this particular name, directly they can understand this is a Visual Force page. If anybody is looking into this particular name, they can understand this is a controller class which has been used inside a page called as customer details page. Just they will remove that word controller, they will add page. That is a page name over here. Okay, directly we can able to understand. For that reason, we have to follow these kind of notations. Okay. Class name and the page name both should be same. Class name should be ends with controller, and then page name should be end with page. Simple. Okay, the same name we can use for both. So now I want to prepare a class over here. How to prepare the class from here? Controller. Because I want to create a custom controller, go to the controller attribute. With which name you want me to create this class now? Customer details controller. Okay, I'm preparing that class. My page name is customer details page. My class name is customer details controller here. Okay. Now. So now after this one, try to save this one because I want to create this class. This class is not yet defined. I want to create. So try to click on save button here. Now it is indicating that message to you. Apex class customer details controller does not exist. That means as soon as once you click on the save button, this entire code will be sending to the first platform for the compilation. It will go to that page compiler. Page compiler is trying to be compiling that page. Upon compiling the page, it is trying to be referencing that class, but this class is not available. This class is not yet defined. So it is indicating the message Apex class customer details controller does not exist. Now it is giving the message to you, you want me to create that class or not? Because the class is not available. So can I create the class for you? Yes, I want to create the class. So here you will be having two options are available. Create Apex class, create Apex class. public, public. Here we are having one keyword called as additionally with sharing. Okay, with sharing. Here we don't have with sharing. So now here in this case we are having class, class name, class, class. Okay. So now here we are going to be using that second link here. We'll see, because here upon preparing the class we are having that syntax called as with sharing, without sharing. This is also called as user mode, system mode concept. During the Visualforce, in the further concepts, we'll see what exactly user mode, what exactly system mode. If I'm defining the class with sharing, what will happen? If I'm not defining the class with sharing, what will happen? We'll see practically. Okay, these are the next concepts over here. Now, so now here I'm going to be defining that controller class. Now specify that class name. Now here it is trying to be giving that message to you, the class is not available. I want to create this class. So now click on this link, second link. It will create the class for you automatically. Okay, the class has been defined. Where is that class code? Next to tab. Here we are having a tab called as customer details controller tab is available. Here we can able to see the class code which has been prepared by Salesforce. That means both we can able to work on here itself. Here we will be having the designing part code. Here we are having the backend part code is available. Both we can able to work on. Now in this case, I'm defining the members inside this. Public string customer code. I want to define this member with get and set. Customer. Public boolean is active. Public decimal balance. Public string designation. Public string customer address. Okay, I'm defining the members inside this class. Upon defining the members, these members I would like to make it accessible from the Visualforce page, because these variable values I want to show inside my Visualforce page, so that I'm defining this member with a get and set accessor. Now let's save this one. Now the class code has been saved. Now let's go to the Visualforce page, display that values over here. How to print these values? Directly we can able to specify that here. Okay, now we can specify that customer code. I want to give some message also over here. Customer code. Customer name. And then balance amount. And the customer address. And then I would like to specify the designation. Designation. I'm indicating active status. Is active. Okay. I'm displaying these messages over here. Now let's see. Understood the concept now? First of all, we are preparing the class. Inside that class, define the members, okay, which we would like to display the values inside the Visualforce page. Upon accessing these variables values in the Visualforce page, define those members with a get and set accessor. And then access these variables inside the Visualforce page in the form of merge field format. Okay, clear? So as of now, I'm simply showing the values. Let's see. In the later stages, we'll see how can we place the text markers, everything we'll see here. I will include all the things. Now make it save. Now it is indicating that information, customer code empty. Okay, no value. Then customer name empty. Balance amount empty. Customer address empty. Designation empty. Active status false. Okay. Now for example here, it is showing this whole information inside a single line. But I don't want in a single line, I want in that multiple lines. Then what we can do? break tag, right? We can use that break tag. I'm using the break tag inside this. Okay, I'm using the break tags. Let's save this content now. Now we can able to see this content. Now the customer code value is empty. That means null. Null means empty value. Customer name empty. Balance amount empty. Customer address empty. Designation empty. Active status false value. Okay. So this is the way we can able to design your own Apex class, define the members inside that, and we can display those values inside the page by using that the customer code variable, and each and every variable we can able to define inside this. Okay, clear? Understood the concept now? How to define the class, how to define the members, referencing inside the Visualforce page and accessing those member variables. Okay, clear? Done? Done with this code? Done with this code? Okay. Now, so let's go with one more example here. Here simply I have defined the variables and that values I have represented inside my Visualforce. I want to assign the value for this. How can we assign? how to assign the values for these variables here. I don't want user interface. I want through programming front end. Okay, customer code equals to some value where we can assign. Now, inside the set, not required. Because it's auto implemented properties. For example, I'm assigning like this. Customer code equals to 10001. It will be raising that error. It is not allowing me to assign. So now tell me, do we have any syntactical mistakes here? Customer code equals to 10001. Customer code is of type integer, so I'm assigning the value integer only. But even though it won't accept that. In this case here, for example, now where we can able to assign these values. How to assign the values? No, not required the object, because object is preparing by the Visual Force page itself. I don't want input fields. In programming itself, I want to assign nothing but default values. I want to assign. Customer code dot no. Now, in this case here, let's see. Whenever if you want to assign the values for these variables, then we have to go with the constructors. Okay. Then we have to use the help of constructor. So what is this constructor basically? What exactly a constructor? Okay. 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 Any more thing? Okay. Okay. Upon creating the object, it will be invoking the default constructor, right? Okay. So now here in this case, so these are the variables I have defined. Whenever I'm defining this variable, so by default, Salesforce is going to storing the default value as null for each and every member. For every variable, it is storing the default value as null. Suppose if it is a Boolean, okay, Boolean means what? Checkbox. For the checkbox, what is the default option? Unselected. That means false. That's what here, when you go to the Visual Force page, for this Boolean parameter, it is indicating the default value as false. Okay. Now. So now here in this case, whenever if you want to assign the values for these variables, then we have to go with the help of constructor. Okay, we have to go with the help of constructor. So now how can we define this constructor and what exactly a constructor basically? When coming to the constructor, constructor is also like as a method. Okay, constructor is like as a method. Whatever the way we have prepared the procedures, like the similar way, constructor is also available, but with some specific principle, with some specialities. Okay, when coming to the constructor, generally, whenever if you are preparing the methods, we are following like this. We can prepare the method like this: public void get records. We can prepare this method here. Now tell me when this method will be executed. Generally, when you call the method, then only it will be executed. Okay, but now when coming to the constructor we no need to invoke manually. Constructor will be executing automatically when upon creating the object. For example, assume that. So this is my class that we have. How to create the object of this class? Customer details controller, some C controller equals to new. Now, so this is the object creation. Now tell me from this object creation, this is what? This part, class name. Okay. This part is nothing but name of the class for which you are creating that object. This is what? Object name, okay, which will be holding the values. What is this keyword? Memory allocation here. Now, this part is called as what? This is called as default constructor. Okay, default constructor. So why? Because is, okay, why this part is available is, now whenever I'm going to be creating the object, that means what, we are allocating some memory for my object. Okay, we're allocating some memory for my object. What is my object name? C controller. What it contains? It contains the values for the variables which are defined inside my class. So to allocate that memory, we are using the help of new keyword. What the new keyword will do is, new keyword means responsibility is it has to assign the memory for that C controller variable. C controller variable is what? Of type what? These of type customer details controller. So in this case, what it will do is, it will go to that respective class. It will go to that respective class. In this class, it will analyze, it will verify in this class how many variables you have defined, what type of variables you have defined. It will verify each and everything. Based on that, how much memory will be required to calculate here. Once the memory calculation has been done, then it is going to be allocating that memory here. Okay, it will allocate that memory for that particular object here. It will be reserving the required amount of memory over here. So now this memory will be allocating for this C controller variable. That means this is my object here. Inside this memory, what it contains, it will be holding the default values of that variables. It will be holding that values of that variable. What variables are available inside this one? I'm having the variables like this. I'm having the variables like as customer code. I'm having the customer name. I'm having the balance amount. I'm having the is active. Like that, variables will be available. Now for these variables, what is the default value? Null. Who will assign this null value? In this case, this is the default constructor. Once the variables has been placed inside this memory, then the last part default constructor will execute. It will enter into the picture. It will be allocating the default value as null for each and every member. It will enter that. It will assign the default value for this one. Okay, it will be assigning that. This is the internal implementation of objects creations. So now whenever I'm creating the object of a class, now the new keyword is going to be calculating the required amount of memory by referencing that class members. It will reserve the required amount of memory. With this one, its job is over. Okay, the new keyword job is over because its main responsibility is it has to allocate the memory for that object. Simply, its job is over. Now, once the memory has been getting allocated for these variables, okay, these variables will be placing inside this memory here. Now, for these variables, what is the default value? Null we need to assign. So who will be assigning that part here? That part will be taken care by that last part. This is called as the default constructor, which will be executing automatically, which will be assigning in the null value for each and every member by default. So in this case, what happened? The default constructor is going to be assigning the null value, but now what I want to do is, I don't want the default constructor here. That means I don't want to assign the null value. I want to assign my own value here. How can we do that? For that one here, okay, for that one here, I would like to prepare my own constructor. Now, in this case, you can raise a question. Sir, this constructor we don't know as of now, so that we haven't created any constructor as of now, but it is allocating the null value. How? Whenever you are preparing a class, upon creating the object of the class, now the last part is going to be executing the default constructor. Now, the user can provide the default constructor also. If the user did not provide any default constructor, then Apex compiler will take care the responsibility of creating the default constructor for your class automatically by default. During the compilation stage, okay, during the compilation stage, Apex compiler will create the default constructor for your class, which will be assigning the default value as null. But now what I want to do, I don't want to use the default constructor, which will be assigning the null value. I will create my own constructor by my own. Okay, I will create my own constructor which has to be get executed, which will assign the value which I have allocated here. I don't want to assign the null values. I want to assign my own values. For that one, I would like to create my own constructor here. Okay. So in this case, constructor will be called when upon creating the object of the class, the last part will be calling the default constructor over here. So I want to create my own constructor. So how can we create this constructor over here? Basically, constructors are nothing but the special member function. That means these are also like as the methods, but these are having some speciality. Normal methods we can invoke by using object name dot method name. If the method is a static method, we need to invoke by using class name dot method name. But when coming to the constructor, we no need to invoke manually. That will be executing automatically upon creating the object of this class over here. Okay, upon creating the object of the class, the last part will be invoking the default constructor of the class over here. So that means what? Constructor is also like as a method which will be executing automatically upon creating the object of the class. Then what it will do? What is the purpose of this constructor? Constructor is used to allocate the default value for your variables. If you're not giving this a default value, by default, Salesforce is assigning the null. I don't want to assign null. I want to assign my own values. So that I'm going to be defining my own default constructor, which will assign some specific values for those members here. For that reason, I would like to create my own constructor. How to create this constructor? Whenever we are creating the constructor, there are some certain rules are available. Okay, there are some certain principles and the rules are available upon defining that constructor here. Okay, then how can we define those constructor, and then what are those principles? Now let's see practically here. Okay, understood the concept here? Now in this case, whenever we are going to be creating the constructor of a class, then the first rule is constructor name should be exactly same like as your class name. Name should be same like as the class name. Here's the first rule. Your constructor name and your class name both will be same. That's what here your class name is same. Here your last part, that constructor name is also same. So that constructor name and your class name should be exactly similar. Okay, this is the first principle. Now, when coming to the constructor should be always public. Constructor should be always public. Why I am making it as public? Suppose here we are creating the object where outside the class. Upon creating this object, okay, outside the class, if the constructor is a private one, then what will happen? That means what? If the constructor is a private, then this cannot be accessible. If it is not accessing, then it is not going to be allocating the value. That means memory will not be assigned. That means object will not be created. That means you can't access the members. Okay, so object will not be created if you are making that constructor as private. So that constructor should be always public. Next, third one. When coming to the constructor, upon defining that methods, we are specifying public and then void. That means here we are indicating return type. When coming to the constructor does not have any return type, even void also. Okay, constructor doesn't return anything to you. So at that time, if it is not returning anything, we are indicating the return type as void. But constructor doesn't support even void also. Okay, now the third principle. Constructor doesn't return any value. Hence, constructor doesn't have any return type, even void. Constructor doesn't return any value, so that constructor doesn't have any return type, even void also. Next, fourth one. Whenever we are having the constructor, can you pass some value for the constructor? Yes, there is a possibility. We can supply the value for the constructors also here. Okay, we can supply the values for the constructors. We can supply the values for the constructors. Now, So can you define multiple constructors inside a class? Yes. Okay. We can overload the constructors. That is, we can define one or more constructors inside a class. Sixth one. Constructors will be executed automatically upon creating the object of the class. Constructors will be executing automatically upon creating the object of the class. Constructors are used to assign default values for the class members. Constructors are used to assign the default values to the class members. That means to apply some default settings, we are using constructors. Whenever we are using any mobile or any system, if the mobile has been hanged because of some multitasking operations, okay, at that time we are rebooting that mobile here, we're restarting that mobile, switch off and switch on. Once you switch on that mobile, it is going to be executing the default constructor, which will apply the default settings again. So that means whatever the operation that you have performed recently, that will be gone, it will be refreshing, that entire memory again. It will assign that the default settings, like the default ringtone, default message alert, screensaver, applications, everything will be the default settings will be applicable. For that one, we are using that constructors. Now, the syntax. Public class customer helper. We can define that constructor. Public customer helper. Set the code for the default value. Default value is a. Done? Done with these points? Now let's see. So let me define a default constructor inside my class. I'm defining a default constructor over here. I'm preparing a default constructor. I'm preparing the default constructor, public customer details controller. No void, because even void also it won't support. So now for this variables, I'm assigning the values. Whatever the variables that we have, I'm assigning the values for these variables. Customer code equals to 240056. Customer name equals to some Ram Kumar. Balance amount equals to some 56,000. Designation equals to some sales manager. He is active equals to true. Address equals to some Srinagar colony, Hyderabad. Customer address. Customer address. Customer address equals to Srinagar colony and Hyderabad. Like that, I'm specifying this whole information. So this is the default constructor which I have prepared, and then we can assign the values also for these variables. I'm assigning the value for the customer code, customer name, and then balance amount, designation, active status, and then customer address. Okay. Now, as soon as whenever I'm going to be saving this result first page, automatically the page is going to be creating the object of this controller class. Whatever the controller class has been getting attached, for this controller class, it is preparing the object. Upon preparing the object, the last part is calling default constructor. That means this default constructor will be getting invoked automatically. Once the constructor has been getting invoked, it is going to be assigning the values. Once the values has been assigned, now this result first page will collect these values. These values will be getting visible to you inside the page. This is the execution flow. Okay. Now let me save this one. Click on save. Now we can able to see the values of those numbers also here. Whatever the values we have assigned, those values you can see. The customer code value, customer name, balance amount, address information, designation, active status. All this information we can able to see inside that Visual Force page. Okay. So this is how we can able to define the members. We can access the members from the Visual Force page. We can assign the values by using the default constructor. Okay. Clear? Whenever the page is getting loaded, it will create the object of the controller class. Now that last part of the object creation will be invoking the default constructor, which will assign the values automatically. These values will be collecting by the Visual Force page. It will display these values onto the user interface. So we can able to see the respective member values inside your Visual Force page inside. Okay. Whenever if you want to apply any default settings or default values for your variables, then go with that constructor. It's a fundamental principle. Okay, clear? So now let me assign these values. Okay, clear? Understood this concept now? Okay. So do the practice on this one today. Tomorrow we'll see okay some more things as part of custom controller. Slowly we'll make the things complex. Okay. Tomorrow we are going to be discussing about how can we perform the DML operations. Okay. Upon loading the page, how to place the text boxes, how to place the buttons. We'll see practically. Okay. Tomorrow's concept is very, very important. Okay. Don't miss that tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's session will be 10:30, 10:30 to 1:30. Okay. Huh? What happened? Tomorrow is Sunday, right? Why you are feeling difficulty to sit for 3 hours when you go to the